Hello and welcome to another Lamp Bible Study. My name is James and I will continue to be your Lamp Bible Study reader. And so, thank you very much for joining today. And one quick pause, starting off with technical difficulties. Sorry about that. So, again, thank you very much for joining. I hope that and pray that we continue to seek God's wisdom through His holy word. We are currently in the book of Genesis because we went through Exodus, Leviticus, Numbers, Deuteronomy, and now we're in the book of Genesis. We are also all the way now to Noah in chapter 6. So that's where we will start reading today. And so I am reading from an NIV Collegiate Bible. And of course, I will be going over the different versions and reading the different versions, a few of the versions at least of the Bible. And then, I might even take some time to do some comparisons because with the different versions comes a little bit of different translation as well. Words are changed and such. And that came up recently in a conversation that I had when it came to the different versions and even portions of the Bible as from when I was younger to even now have completely changed or been removed. So let's get right into Genesis and discovering more information as well as seeking God's wisdom. So let's get started. The flood. Nice way to start off. When men began to increase in number on earth and daughters were born to them, the sons of God saw that the daughters of men were beautiful, and they married any of them they chose. Then the Lord said, My spirit will not contend with man forever, for he is mortal. His days will be 120 years. So, right here, and I had to move the mic a little bit closer because I'm pretty sure I sounded far away. But right here, there's quite a bit in just this little portion. When man began to increase in number on earth and daughters were born to them, the sons of God saw that the daughters of men were beautiful. So it is to be believed that sons of God, the sons of God, were angels, and so they started intermingling with men and women on the earth, and so saw that the daughters of men were beautiful, and they married any of them they chose. Contend with man forever, for he is mortal. My spirit will not contend with man forever, for he is mortal. His days will be 120 years old. So some believe it's, I don't know if they think it's not angels, they think it's other people or something. I'm not quite sure when it comes to the different studies. So it might be something to look at. I know different people have different opinions about it. So take a look at, if you have a commentary or if you really follow a preacher or somebody, take a look at what they have or do some research, of course, additional research as to that. So as to what others may think. What do you think, when it comes to that passage? The sons of God saw that the daughters of men were beautiful, and they married any of them they chose. What do you think? What do you believe? Throughout the Bible, the sons of God are referred to typically as angels. So, how does it make you feel, and what does it make you think? Also in there is the limit for man. So remember, man was living almost 1,000 years, 930 years, 912 years, 905 years, just 969 years. Lots of people were living very long, not even having their first child until they reached 100 or more. And so now we see that there's limitation, and it's been lowered significantly. And I think my own belief, part of the reason of that is because man's sinful. Unfortunately, you know, we're allowed to do so much damage, or we're allowed to notice our mortality, that we only have a short time. And truly that, like in eternity, this is only a moment. And so, excuse me, my allergies are still messed up and draining. So apologize, bear with me. But so there's just a lot to think about when it comes to even the limitation. It's also a way to help express feelings. A lot of people who have issues in families or relationships, you can point it out. 120 years, that's it. After that, accepted Jesus, you're going to eternity with God. You didn't, you're not. You're going to eternity away from God. And that's worse than anything. And so there's a lot of feelings, a lot of thoughts and emotions. How does it make you feel, and what does it make you think? Let's continue to read. The Nephilim were on the earth in those days, and also afterward, when the sons of God went to the daughters of men and had children by them. They were the heroes of old, men of renown. The Lord saw how great man's wickedness on the earth had become, and that every inclination of the thoughts of his heart was only evil all the time. The Lord was grieved that he had made man on the earth, and his heart was filled with pain. So the Lord said, I will wipe mankind whom I have created from the face of the earth, men and animals and creatures that move along the ground, and birds of the air, for I am grieved that I have made them. But Noah found favor in the eyes of the Lord. So something just quickly to point out right there. Noah found favor in the eyes of the Lord. And that just shows us that there's always hope. There's always hope. The Lord knows that. The Lord knows that Noah was there. So all of this is additional wisdom and understanding for our benefit. The Lord is timeless. The Lord knows the beginning. He's the Alpha and the Omega, the beginning and the end. He knows everything. He knows everything about time because the Lord created it. So when it comes to this, but Noah found favor in the eyes of the Lord. That's his creation. That's man. And how Noah lived, it was speak for itself. Speak for itself, so that it showed that the Lord found favor in him. And so now we're going to get to additional information as to why. So the Bible likes to do that. Likes to throw stuff in, kind of like a sneak, like a sample, a tasting. Okay, here you go. Here's a little sample. It tastes good, right? Now here's why. So let's get right into it. Reminds me of like going to a wholesale, and they're like, would you like a sample of, you know what I mean? You know what I'm talking about. I'm sure you love those. Ooh, yes. Unfortunately with, COVID and such, for a while there were not a lot of that, but there were either machines that were handing out samples or none, So I noticed recently, they've started back doing that quite a few places. So very interesting. But it's something, it's that little taste to get you enticed. In this case, this is the holy word. This is the wisdom. So it's giving you that. Because I know reading the holy word, because man, and I've talked about this, so I'm going to do a pause because more and more is coming into my mind and it's flooding. So I've talked about this before in previous Bible studies. So man, we seek to fill ourselves in life, to understand who we are, why we're here, what we're all about. And when you read, when we read, when we read, when you read, when I read, when they read the Holy Word, and they pray for understanding, and you understand it, you start to understand it. But again, the Holy Word goes beyond. I mean, it's something that goes beyond our knowledge and comprehension as well. But when we start to understand for our lives, it's that filling. It starts filling that void, that thing that we all have of seeking what our purpose is, what we're supposed to do, and getting to know and reading the Holy Word and seeking the wisdom that fills it. It gives you the understanding. It gives you that hope. It gives you love. So, and like I said, I mentioned this before, and it's proof. It's true from the past to now, and will always be in the future. This is it. This is what we need. And if we don't understand it, when it makes you feel uncomfortable, that means the Holy Spirit's working. That means that you're wanting to understand. And it may frustrate you. You may even make determinations because you get frustrated. You make simple decisions that are like, I know what this is such and such, and I don't like it. And you cross your arms. But that emptiness is still going to be there unless you start to allow for that wisdom to flow in and your heart to be open, from a stony heart to a fleshy heart. So just think about it. There's things to think about. How does it make you feel, and what does it make you think? Let's continue to read. This is the account of Noah. Noah was a righteous man, blameless among the people of his time, and he walked with God. Noah had 3 sons, Shem, Ham, and Japheth. A quick pause. There's a lot just right here. Noah was a righteous man, blameless among the people of his time, and he walked with God. There's a lot there. Walking with God. There's a lot about walking with God, meditating on his word, talking with God, having an actual conversation, not just a prayer, not just acting like he's a genie in a bottle, or he's, just there for when you need him. He's always there. He's here right now. So, and then 3 sons. So a lot of people think that the 3 sons, Shem, Ham, and Japheth, was the start of different civilizations. So we'll continue to read, but you may want to look into that to see what is referred to as the start of the many nations and cultures and such. Some people believe that it started right here with Noah and his 3 sons. So let's continue to read. Now the earth was corrupt in God's sight and was full of violence. God saw how corrupt the earth had become, for all the people on earth had corrupted their ways. So God said to Noah, I am going to put an end to all people, for the earth is filled with violence because of them. I am surely going to destroy both them and the earth. 1 second. Oh, okay. Just making sure. Another technical difficulty. I feel like that's today. So, sometimes you wonder, does God think sometimes we have a technical difficulty? He's looking at us like, they're not supposed to do that. Okay, so technical difficulty. Let me wiggle this wire over here. And then that something happens, you know? It's that's funny. So, okay, so I'm just go back. So God said to Noah, I'm going to put an end to all people, for the earth is filled with violence because of them. I am surely going to destroy both them and the earth. So make yourself an ark of cypress wood, make rooms in it, and coat it with pitch inside and out. This is how you are to build it. The ark is to be 450 feet long, 75 feet wide, and 45 feet high. Make a roof for it and finish the ark to within 18 inches of the top. Put a door in the side of the ark and make lower, middle, and upper decks. I am going to bring floodwaters on the earth to destroy all life under the heavens, every creature that has the breath of life in it. Everything on earth will perish, but I will establish my covenant with you, and you will enter the ark, you and your sons and your wife and your sons' wives with you. You are to bring into the ark 2 of all living creatures, male and female, to keep them alive with you. 2 of every kind of bird, every kind of animal, and of every kind of creature that moves along the ground will come to you to be kept alive. You are to take every kind of food that is to be eaten and store it away as food for you and for them. A quick pause. So, the 2 of every creature, and then this is going to be expanded upon later on. So again, this happens in different parts of the Bible where there's like a humming in the background. I'm sorry, it's coming from outside. I'm not quite sure, but anyways, so I don't know if it's being recorded. So the Bible gives you a little taste and then expands upon it. Sometimes it's because maybe this person that was writing it or saying it remembered it certain. I'm not sure. I'm not sure overall how, because I wasn't back then. So but it happens throughout the Bible, and that's good, because that allows us to absorb and then absorb a little bit more and then absorb a little bit more. So and let's continue. Noah did everything just as God commanded him. So the Lord told Noah to build this ark, and that animals were going to come into to him to stay with him and his family, and because everything else is going to be destroyed. Man was going to be destroyed because he saw there was just too much sin. And this is something to think about, because so let's see here. Okay, so you have people, and that people we all have choice, believe in Jesus as their Savior. Like, we can take it from today, we can also take it from in the past. So in the past, and it's the same, but it's when it's in the past under prior to the written law, but technically going to be under the law of faith, just faith in God. So prior to the Savior, so you have to think about how people were and how people can be. So when it comes to the Lord literally saying that he's going to destroy man, right? But he's saving Noah and his family. It is because you have to think about it, because those people, no matter what would happen, would refuse to acknowledge God. So you have to, I know this is one of those difficult things to even think about or imagine or even contemplate in our minds. So when it comes to even what happened to the devil and a third of the angels, so it's the same. All of these would never, even if the Lord would to say, okay, these things that would never repent, would never want to kneel, would never want to humble themselves. And that also comes to how the Lord knows who is his children and who's not, you know? So you got to think about it, because some people, I know some people, especially when it gets into education and such, they look at this part and they're like, well, how could God judge these people? It's because these people will because God knows, past, present, and future, and what these people would do. So even if he were to give them what they want or what have you, they would never humble themselves before him. They would want to, in some cases, want to be treated like gods themselves. It's that pride and arrogance. And so when it comes to Genesis, this might be a little bit long, but how does it make you feel, and what does it make you think? Let's continue to read. The Lord then said to Noah, "Go into the ark, you and your whole family, because I have found you righteous in this generation. Take with you 7 of every kind of clean animal, a male and its mate, and 2 of every kind of unclean animal, a male and its mate, and also 7 of every kind of bird, male and female, to keep their various kinds alive throughout the earth. 7 days from now I will send rain on the earth for 40 days and 40 nights, and I will wipe from the face of the earth every living creature that I have made." And Noah did all that the Lord commanded him. Noah was 600 years old when the floodwaters came on the earth, and Noah and his sons and his wife and his sons' wives entered the ark to escape the waters of the flood. Pairs of clean and unclean animals, of birds, and all creatures that move along the ground, male and female, came to Noah and entered the ark, as God had commanded Noah. And after the 7 days, the floodwaters came on the earth. In the 600th year of Noah's life, on the 17th day of the 2nd month, on that day all the springs of the great deep burst forth, and the floodgates of the heavens were open, and rain fell on the earth 40 days and 40 nights. On that very day, Noah and his sons, Shem, Ham, and Japheth, together with his wife and the wives of his 3 sons, entered the ark. They had with them every wild animal according to its kind, all livestock according to their kinds, every creature that moves along the ground according to its kind, and every bird according to its kind. Everything with wings, pairs of all creatures that have the breath of life in them, came to Noah and entered the ark. The animals going in were male and female of every living thing, as God had commanded Noah. Then the Lord shut him in. Could you imagine? I mean, you can see that it was 7 of clean animals and 2 of every unclean animal. And, it was expanded upon. And then as well as him and his family and what had happened. Like, it started to flood, and when the floodgates of heaven were open and it fell, that's when Noah and his sons and everybody got into the ark with everything that was on the face of the planet. Imagine. What are you scared of? Are you scared of snakes, spiders? You name it. Anything that you could think of. Lots. The creatures were there. Pairs of all creatures that have the breath of life in them came to Noah and entered the ark. But everything was at peace. Everything was working together, so you didn't see one animal attacking another. Interesting, right? So, once again, it was similar to, even remember the previous Bible study, the Garden of Eden. There were all the creatures, but none of them ate each other. They all ate the grass, vegetables and leaves and such. It says a lot right here. How would you feel If you were back then, you were told, hey, everything, all the creatures of the earth are coming, they're going to live with you, and you're going to be shut in with them. Would you squirm? Would you be like, okay, and walk in? Walk into the ark. Would it be one of those? I mean, imagine it now. I mean, there would be like TV crew filming it. Of course, I wouldn't want to be on the outside of the ark, but I'm just saying, like, just imagine how you would feel, and what would it make you think? Let's continue to read. For 40 days, the flood kept coming on the earth, and as the waters increased, they lifted the ark high above the earth. The waters rose and increased greatly on the earth, and the ark floated on the surface of the water. They rose greatly on the earth, and all the high mountains under the entire heavens were covered. The waters rose and covered the mountains to a depth of more than 20 feet. Every living thing that moved on the earth perished: birds, livestock, wild animals, all the creatures that swarm over the earth, and all mankind. Everything on dry land that had the breath of life in its nostrils died. Every living thing on the face of the earth was wiped out: men and animals and creatures that move along the ground, and the birds of the air were wiped from the earth. Only Noah was left and those with him in the ark. The waters flooded the earth for 150 days. Wow, that's a lot. That's a long time. I do want to do another pause here because so everything was wiped out, including, remember what we just read about. The sons of God saw that the daughters of men were beautiful, and they married any of them they chose. And the Nephilim were on the earth those days. So this is one of those that's debated, a lot as to where, like, during that time there could have been giants, there could have been a lot of different things that we wouldn't see today, because of, if you were to take it as angels were procreating with men, and then things were being made that were a combination. It doesn't say specific. It says that the Nephilim, and they were, and these were of, the heroes of old, men of renown. It would make you think that, a lot of the stories that you hear about, maybe even in, I don't know, other theologies and such, how maybe somebody would, I don't know. I can't, like, I can't describe, because it doesn't go into much description. I don't know if they have more than one arm or something. I don't know. But it says everything with the breath of life was destroyed, was killed at that time with the flood. So none of that was supposed to have survived past the flood. So, but that's what because I know that's one of those that's really talked about, especially among different congregations, sects, SEC, and different areas. And so I'm not sure. Again, there is a possibility, absolutely, of giants and things that we don't see today. People with wings. I don't know. but everything was gone, didn't survive the flood. So how does it make you feel, and what does it make you think? Have you heard something like that? This might be the first time. I think of those like Grecian and Roman things, where you had like, the different beings and stuff. Like, that's the only thing that, or even like during Aztec, and there's just different cultures and different things that you could see images of, people with wings, or I don't know. I'll leave that for you to think about and pray about. Of course, yes. Okay, let's continue to read. But God remembered Noah and all the wild animals and the livestock that were with him in the ark. And he sent a wind over the earth, and the waters receded. Now the springs of the deep and the floodgates of the heavens had been closed, and the rain had stopped falling from the sky. The water receded steadily from the earth. At the end of the 150 days, the water had gone down. And on the 17th day of the 7th month, the ark came to rest on the mountains of Ararat. The waters continued to recede until the 10th month, and on the first day of the 10th month, the tops of the mountains became visible. After 40 days, Noah opened the window he had made in the ark and sent out a raven, and it kept flying back and forth until the water had dried up from the earth. Then he sent out a dove to see if the water had receded from the surface of the ground, but the dove could find no place to set its feet, because there was water over all the surface of the earth. So it returned to Noah in the ark. He reached out his hand and took the dove and brought it back to himself in the ark. He waited 7 more days and again sent out the dove from the ark. When the dove returned to him in the evening, there in its beak was a freshly plucked olive leaf. Then Noah knew that the waters had receded from the earth. He waited 7 more days and sent the dove out again, but this time it did not return to him. So remember, God remembered Noah, and that can happen to us too. We can be put through a struggle, so for the Lord to accomplish what he needs to accomplish. But again, the Lord knows us, the Lord remembers us and acknowledges us, and there's always a way out, and he guides us, and he gives us that way out, and he gives us that hope that we need. So think about it, as well as not only in the past, not only in the actual past that has happened here, but think about it in your life. Think about, have you been through a struggle? Are you going through a struggle right now? Reading the Lord's wisdom and understanding that there is hope in the Lord, and understanding that you're not alone and you are remembered, and it will end. And for those who have been through something, you can utilize it to spread as a testimony. I know there are many things that I can think of that I've been throughout my life that I feel were, horrible, or tests that I feel like, was not a great time, or something happened to me. And those help us, though. Those help us grow and understand and learn. So it's okay to have the bad, because it gives you that knowledge of there are bad times, but there are also good times as well. And when those good times come, that makes it all the better. So how does it make you feel, and what does it make you think? Let's continue to read. By the first day of the first month of Noah's 601st year, the water had dried up from the earth. Noah then removed the covering from the ark and saw that the surface of the ground was dry. By the 27th day of the second month, the earth was completely dry. Then God said to Noah, "Come out of the ark, you and your wife and your sons and their wives. Bring out every kind of living creature that is with you, the birds, the animals, and all the creatures that move along the ground, so they can multiply on the earth and be fruitful and increase in number upon it." So Noah came out, together with his sons and his wife and his sons' wives, all the animals and all the creatures that move along the ground and all the birds, everything that moves on the earth, came out of the ark, one kind after another. Then Noah built an altar to the Lord, and taking some of all the clean animals and clean birds, he sacrificed burnt offerings on it. The Lord smelled the pleasing aroma and said in his heart, "Never again will I curse the ground because of man, even though every inclination of his heart is evil from childhood. And never again will I destroy all living creatures as I have done. As long as the earth endures, seed time and harvest, cold and heat, summer and winter, day and night will never cease." So just right there is a lot. Noah did exactly what he knew he was supposed to do. He thanked the Lord as soon as everything came to pass. Do we do that? I know that seemed harsh. I know it did. I know it did. I know it did. I know it did. So, but think about it. Even the little, even what you consider a little thing. I mentioned this before in a previous Bible study. Somebody holds the door open for you. You may thank them, but do you also thank the Lord? Do you even think about the Lord when that happens? You don't know. You could have touched the door and picked up something. It's just a lot to think about. And we're supposed to meditate on the word. We're supposed to think about the Lord all the time because it's going to help. It helps. The Lord's there. He's alive. Again. So it's things to think about. Even myself, like I get in my car, turn the ignition and go. I turn the ignition and go. I've had a point in my life where I turned the ignition and was praying that it would start. So where did that go? When I turn the ignition, am I even thinking like, thank you, Jesus, God Almighty, the engine started? Or am I now past, thinking that not, like my mind's past that? I'm just not even thanking him. I turn the ignition and just go. Something as that. Think about it. If you created something and you worked really hard at it, think about it for yourself. And you accomplished something, or you helped somebody, or you helped your own child, or you helped a friend, or you helped a family member, and you get zero recognition. Now, in life, see that there's a lot to that even, because we're not to go and want to have recognition. And we'll get into that. But overall, the purpose is love each other, right? Love each other, and even a quick thank you, from someone, or yourself saying thank you for you receiving that help goes a long way. Those small things are actually large. Saying thank you can change a person's day completely, can change their mindset, could make them feel like they're an actual person. Emotions, emotions say we are alive. So think about that. How does it make you feel, and what does it make you think? What thoughts come to mind? How can you put this in your life? What kind of perspectives or thoughts come to mind when you read this? It may not be exactly what comes to my mind. Maybe along a similar path, and that's okay. That's absolutely fine. This is the living word, and you could be at a different point in your life. You could have different history, different things that have happened to you, and how this relates to you may be different, and that's okay. The Holy Spirit will do its work. The Holy Spirit will provide that wisdom and knowledge. Let's continue to read. God's covenant with Noah. Then God blessed Noah and his sons, saying to them, "Be fruitful and increase in number and fill the earth. The fear and dread of you will fall upon all the beasts of the earth and all the birds of the air, upon every creature that moves along the ground, and upon all the fish of the sea. They are given into your hands. Everything that lives and moves will be food for you. Just as I gave you the green plants, I now give you everything." You know what I'm going to say if you've been following along just in the previous Bible study or the previous Bible study. So, and this is going to come up again. About the food thing. Lots to think about, lots to understand, because when the law comes, then he's going to give additional detailed specifics, and then a new covenant is going to be created during the New Testament. So we're going to learn so much, but this is immediately he's telling them all the creatures are going to be fearful of you, and at this time I give you everything as food, everything. Let's continue to read. But you must not eat meat that has its lifeblood still in it. And for your lifeblood I will surely demand an accounting. I will demand an accounting from every animal, and from each man too. I will demand an accounting for the life of his fellow man. So remember, the lifeblood. The blood represents the life of us. Whoever sheds the blood of man, by man shall his blood be shed. For in the image of God has God made man. I'm going to read that again. Whoever sheds the blood of man, by man shall his blood be shed. For in the image of God has God made man. So it means a lot to us, to him, excuse me. It means a lot to the Lord. Think about it. He made us in his image, and then we go around killing each other. Because of what? Specifically? When it comes to all man, we go around and we just, for whatever reason, pride, prejudice, racism, ignorance, lust, greed, and you kill another man. We're all made in the Lord's image. Something to think about. Let's continue to read. As for you, be fruitful and increase in number. Multiply on the earth and increase upon it. Then God said to Noah and to his sons with him, I now establish my covenant with you and with your descendants after you and every living creature that was with you, the birds, the livestock, and all the wild animals, all those that came out of the ark with you, every living creature on earth. I established my covenant with you. Never again will all life be cut off by the waters of a flood. Never again will there be a flood to destroy the earth. And God said, "This is the sign of the covenant I am making between me and you and every living creature with you, a covenant for all generations to come. I have set my rainbow in the clouds, and it will be a sign of the covenant between me and the earth. Whenever I bring clouds over the earth and the rainbow appears in the clouds, I will remember my covenant between me and you and all living creatures of every kind. Never again will the waters become a flood to destroy all life. Whenever the rainbow appears in the clouds, I will see it and remember the everlasting covenant between God and all living creatures of every kind on the earth." So God said to Noah, "This is the sign of the covenant I have established between me and all life on the earth." So there's a lot again here. Some people believe, Bible scholars, priests and such, pastors and such, that this was the first time that men were to see a rainbow, like where we see rainbows as of today, including as of today, when you get to a chance to see a rainbow, and how, storms happen and then the sun shines and you see the rainbow appear in the sky. So this is like described as one of the first time that a rainbow is now present on earth, or could be seen on earth. It's just talked about, and this is, the Lord is saying that this is a sign, and he is between all living creatures, includes man. I have set my rainbow in the clouds. So there you go. And also, the Lord will, has used it as an everlasting covenant. We see this to this day, that he will not destroy all living creatures with the flood again. Are there floods? Yes. But is it a flood to the degree of covering the entire earth? No. So think about it. There's a lot here. Lots to think about. How does it make you feel, and what does it make you think? Have you seen a rainbow? Have you seen a rainbow lately? Just think about it. This is all the way back in Genesis, and we're here in present day, and we still see that sign today, whether you're a believer or not. It says a lot. Let's continue to read. The sons of Noah. The sons of Noah who came out of the ark were Shem, Ham, and Japheth. Ham was the father of Canaan. These were the three sons of Noah, and from them came the people who were scattered over the earth. Remember, we talked about how it's believed that Noah's sons, three sons, that was the creation of all the different cultures, and that's what started when it started. Let's continue to read. Noah, a man of the soil, proceeded to plant a vineyard. When he drank some of its wine, he became drunk and lay uncovered inside his tent. Ham, the father of Canaan, saw his father's nakedness and told his two brothers outside. But Shem and Japheth took a garment and laid it across their shoulders. Then they walked in backward and covered their father's nakedness. Their faces were turned the other way so that they would not see their father's nakedness. When Noah awoke from his wine and found out what his youngest son had done to him, he said, Cursed be Canaan, the lowest of slaves will he be to his brothers. He also said, Blessed be the Lord, the God of Shem. May Canaan be the slave of Shem. May God extend the territory of Japheth. May Japheth live in the tents of Shem. And may Canaan be a slave. After the flood, Noah lived 350 years altogether. Noah lived 950 years, and then he died. There's a lot here. So it was something of an embarrassment for someone to see another one naked. So we went from the time of Adam and Eve, they were naked, then God clothed them, and now that has came and passed down as something of honor, you don't want to dishonor your parent, or you dishonor someone by seeing them exposed. And so it was kind of like Ham was making fun of or dishonoring his father. So his father was angry. And his father placed a curse, or said a curse. Curse be Canaan, because that was Ham. The lowest of slaves will he be to his brother. Excuse me. And so, a lot of people believe that Ham and the curse still exists today, but that is for people who have not fully read. Because we're getting into those cursings, blessings and cursings, and how far this went. The more we read, and so yes, there was a curse, and it was placed here. There was a curse for some time, but the curse was not an eternal curse or forever. So again, we'll get more into that. And again, for Bible scholars and people who, because to me, like all the people of the Bible, how do I say this? I'm just going to move on. There's something there, but to me, it's not, it's significant, and but it's taken in a way that people are putting it, sometimes some people are putting it too low, some people are putting it too high. But I'll just say it has something to do, some people believe it has something to do with race and skin tone, and the darker the skin tone, with the curse of Ham. There you go. And that is not the case as of today, and nor did it really last a very long time. And we'll get into that. And so let's continue. And the reason why I'm not speaking about it now is because I'm not getting that. I'm not getting that right now during this Bible study, that I need to bring it up. I went ahead and stated it, but it's something that I will go over at a later time when I feel like I'm being guided by the Holy Spirit to say something upon it. So, but I didn't want to leave everybody out. And I know time's winding down really fast. So let's continue to read. Thoughts and feelings. How does it make you feel? What does it make you think? Okay, let's continue to read. The Table of Nations. This is the account of Shem, Ham, and Japheth, Noah's sons, who themselves had sons after the flood. Japhethites. The sons of Japheth: Gomer, Magog, Madai, Javan, Tubal, Meshech, and Tiras. Remember, this is the Old Testament. A lot of these, I don't know. I may not pronounce them all correctly. If you do know how to pronounce them, say them correctly. Type them in notes. Type them in comment section. More than welcome. And so the sons of Gomer, Ashkenaz, Riphath, and Togarmah. The sons of Javan, Elisha, Tarshish, the Kittim, and the Rodanim. From these, the maritime people spread out into their territories by their clans within their nations, each with its own language. The Hamites, the sons of Ham, Kush, Mizraim, Put, and Canaan. The sons of Kush, Seba, Havilah, Zabta, Rama, and Sabateka. The sons of Rama, Sheba, and Dedan. Quick pause. I want to go quickly back to the whole race thing. I believe that a lot of the cultures and the people back then, there was more of a mixture. It was somewhat, because of course we as men, our sight and how we see people, and then the way people look, and we start distinguishing, and sometimes I believe it's more so today than it may have been of a significance back then, although it may have been present. Okay, anyways, I just want to continue. So Kush was the father of Nimrod, who grew to be a mighty warrior on the earth. He was a mighty hunter before the Lord. That is why it is said, like Nimrod, a mighty hunter before the Lord. The first centers of his kingdom were Babylon, Erech, Akkad, and Calneh, and Shinar. From that land he went to Assyria, where he built Nineveh, Rehoboth, Calah, and Resen, which is between Nineveh and Calah. That is the great city. So remember, okay, so God blessed Noah and his sons. So Noah put a curse, but as you can see, Kush had Nimrod. Like, there was a lot of people. Babylon, big, known historically. Nineveh, very important place. Rehoboth, all these places, very significant. And Nimrod, he was a mighty hunter before the Lord. That is why it is said, like Nimrod, a mighty hunter before the Lord. So that whole the curse of Ham is taken way out of proportion. And so and it also to believe, because Kush is one of the sons of Ham, and those Kush is geologically speaking in Africa. So okay, so between Nineveh and Calah, that is the great city. Okay, so okay, and Resen, which is between, okay. Let's continue to read. We're almost out of time. Mizraim was the father of the Ludites, Anamites, Lehabites, Nephutites, Petherites, Casluhites, from whom the Philistines came, and Caphtorites. Canaan was the father of Sidon, his firstborn, and of the Hittites, Jebusites, Amorites, Girgashites, Hivites, Archites, Sinites, Arvadites, Zemarites, and Hamathites. Later, the Canaanite clans scattered in the borders of Canaan reached from Sidon toward Gerar as far as Gaza, and then toward Sodom, Gomorrah, Admah, and Zeboim as far as Lasha. Remember those two, specifically those two cities, Sodom and Gomorrah. We'll go over that later. These are the sons of Ham by their clans and languages, and their territories and nations. The Semites. Sons were also born to Shem, whose older brother was Japheth. Shem was the ancestor of all the sons of Eber. The sons of Shem: Elam, Ashar, Arphaxad, Lud, and Aram. The sons of Aram: Uz, Hol, Gether, and Meshech. Some of those are important to take note. Uz and Meshech. Arphaxad was the father of Shelah, and Shelah the father of Eber. 2 sons were born to Eber. One was named Peleg, because in his time the earth was divided. His brother was named Joktan. Joktan was the father of Almodad, Sheleph, Hazarmapheth, Jerah, Hadaram, Uzal, Dikla, Obal, Ebimio, Sheba, Ophir, Havilah, and Jobeb. All these were the sons of Joktan. The region where they lived stretched from Mesha toward Sephar in the eastern hill country. These are the sons of Shem by their clans and languages and their territories and nations. These are the clans of Noah's sons according to their lines of descent within their nations. From these the nations spread out over the earth after the flood. So a lot. We went over quite a bit. If you want to go back and reread, please do so. Reread it, because horrible pronouncing of some of the names. The flood. We started off with the flood. Flood happened, destroyed everything except for Noah and his family and the animals. How would you feel with those lions and tigers and bears? Oh my. And then we also know that he was in the ark for quite a long time after he built it. And remember, he was like 600 years old. So then the Lord, they went into the ark, and then flood waters came, destroyed everything. Then after that, the waters started receding. The ark would end up on Mount Ararat, and Noah sent out the birds, the doves specifically, and then it finally didn't come back the last time, and that's when they left the ark. And it took a long time, though, still a long time for the waters to recede. And then God made a new covenant. God's covenant with Noah, and he put the rainbow in the sky as a reminder that we see to this day. And he also talked about whoever sheds the blood of man, by man shall his blood be shed, for in the image of God has God made man. Remember, God made us all in his image, so he wants us to love each other, not kill each other. I mean, he takes, he doesn't want to kill his own creation. It was hard for him, but he understood that at that time, all those people would not humble themselves. And at that time, only Noah and his family were. That hope. And they had trust and faith and hope in the Lord, Noah and his family. And then, of course, the Lord blessed them. The Lord blessed Noah and his sons, all 3 of them. Then, unfortunately, you get a little bit, sin wasn't eliminated. It was just deterred, And unfortunately, Ham, I don't know if it was a prank or if he was truly, literally, no matter what, it was sinful. He disrespected his father. And so Noah was mad and he cursed him. We think of Christians today, you hear some nice 4-letter words, a cursing out, somebody getting chewed up, spit out. But back then it was, real, for it wasn't maybe something that they would curse the person out and call them names and use F-bombs, but in this case, he was upset. His child dishonored him, and his child knew that he dishonored him. So, but as we see, that curse was not, like I said, the curse is really taken out of I believe it's taken out of context by a lot of people. And so, and then it explains right here, the Table of Nations, how each of his sons grew to be the fathers of empires, like lots of good things, lots of things. They spread out and procreated and started repopulating the planet. And we went through all the different families and tribes and such that came from the 3 sons. So with all of that, how does it make you feel and what does it make you think? Thank you so much for spending another time with me on Lamp Bible Study. I hope these messages, I hope us reading together helps. I know it helps me. Continue to pray for me, and I will continue to pray for you. These Lamp Bible Studies come out every Tuesdays and Thursdays. I also have flashlights that are now posted. I do know that. And so, if you have comments or questions, you're free to leave a comment or question. There is a email address in the information section of the YouTube page. And if you have anything to share, feel free to share it. I will continue to be here and continue to be your Lamp Bible Study reader. So, and I hope that and pray that we continue to seek God's wisdom through His holy word. Thank you very much. Wherever you are, have a blessed morning, a blessed day, a blessed afternoon, a blessed evening, and a blessed night. God bless.